Hello everyone and welcome to another Howlu Sees It review. Today I'm looking at Pagoda, published by AEG, and one of my new favorite games that I was introduced to in 2014, and my favorite two-player game of 2014 that I discovered. It was actually published, this was published in 2013 technically, but it's a fantastic two-player game. Always looking for good two-player games to play with my wife, so let's go ahead and take a look. It is a very interesting concept. Some people have kind of compared it to, Ticket to Ride, but building, two-player Ticket to Ride with 3D elements. Well, there's some truth to that. It's definitely the card size and kind of trying to collect, certain colors and things like that. There's some elements of that, but really great two-player game. I've got it kind of set up here for a two-player game, but I also, in a usual setup, you'll have a clean slate here. You won't have anything built. No one would have any points yet or anything like that. But I wanted to show you just some of the gameplay, some of the components, so I have some things already kind of pre-established here. But if you open up the game, what you're going to find is you're going to find this board here that has the scoring track along the outside. It has 6 different places to build pagodas, and that's the board. Very simple. The player colors, you have kind of a light tan-ish color and a dark brown, and it's kind of interesting. I thought that they went kind of with those colors, but it's nice because it doesn't detract from the very colorful columns and pagoda tiles and such. So I think it actually works really well. So you'll have the game board, and you'll have each player has 6 of these tokens, one for the board there, and 5 more to keep track of their player abilities if they're going to utilize that. There's a little starting player token to keep track of who's the starting player. Then you have all of these pagoda tiles. There are 5 colors, and there are 5 pagoda tiles in each of those colors with all different column building spaces in the different colors. So you have green pagoda tile with green, red, purple, yellow, and excuse me, what did I miss here? Green, yellow, red. I said that already. Anyway, so you got all of the different pagoda tiles there, right? They're not square. They got a good shape to them. You flip them over. That's going to be the same column color there as the rooftop. We'll get to that. But so we have all these pagoda tiles. We have all of these colorful column pieces, little octagon shaped column cylindrical pieces. And and then we have a little tiny, the little cards as the original Ticket to Ride there. And I originally didn't like these little cards, but they're really kind of growing on me. Not literally, not growing any larger, but I do like the cards. So yeah, let's take a look at the game. The game setup. The rule book here is really nice. A lot of good illustrations. We have a good illustration for setup and description of how to do that. Really basic though, really easily understood. Then there's discussing all of kind of the upfront. What are all the things called? Things like that, and then you get into the actual flow of play, and you go through, and there's basically, I thought it was interesting. I mean, they have the ABCs of construction here: column construction, pagoda tile construction, and roof construction, and it goes through that. And basically, on your turn, there's I didn't I think I mentioned, some people have kind of compared this, it has similarities to Ticket to Ride. The card size, the colorful, you're trying to collect things. I don't know. I don't know that there's much to that analogy, but it's a really great game. One of the things here is these are my cards. So in the setup, you're going to have 5 cards that you can utilize face up in front of you, and you have 2 cards in your hand that the other player can't see. So I can see the opponent's 5 cards, but I won't be able to see the 2 in his hand. And so in this game, there's no choosing which colors you want, as in Ticket to Ride, as they're laid out. Basically what's going to happen here is I'm going to choose which of the cards that I have in front of me and in my hand to play to build columns and pagodas to score points. And then at the end of my turn, I will draw and replace these cards just from the deck over here. So what does a turn look like? Well, there isn't like a set number of actions necessarily, but there are some rules for building. Now, like I said, the game wouldn't begin like this, but I wanted to show you a completed pagoda and give you an idea of how the game plays a little bit with a pagoda already started. So this is a finished pagoda. It consists of 4 of these pagoda tiles, which means that each of these floors has 4 columns. And then you have a column on top here that is consisted of 2 of the column pieces on top there. So it's a nice little 3D building up these pagodas. It's, I think, very, very beautifully done game as far as the artwork, and the how the game actually builds these cool looking pagodas. So anyway, the game actually ends when you have 3 finished pagodas. You, on your turn, have to build 1 column at least, and you're going to build columns by taking a card from either your face-up cards or in your hand, placing it in the building area for that specific pagoda to be. So for example, this base one, I can play any color there right now because there's no other column. So I can go ahead and place a yellow here, and I would place a yellow column on one of the 4 open spaces. Now any further columns to be built on here have to be yellow. They have to be consistent. Now let's take that back and we'll show you another play here. So whenever I build a column on this first floor, I score 1 point. I'd be able to move my little thing there. However, this one is already on the 2nd floor, and for every column I place here, it'll be 2 points. Okay, so I have to build at least 1 column, and then the other thing that we have to keep in mind is I can only build a maximum of 3 columns in 1 turn. So I could build, if I had 3 red cards, 1, 2, 3, I could build those 3 columns. Now that wouldn't necessarily end my turn because I can build as many pagoda tiles as I'm able to. And we'll show you that in a second. I will mention up here that the rooftop, to build a rooftop, you're going to have the correct color card to build the pagoda tile first. And then you're going to also have to have 2 yellows here, unless you're using an ability, 2 yellows to build this column. But this counts as 1 column in that limiting factor of building 3, or it could, count as your 1 column that you must build. Let's see, what am I missing? I think that's pretty much it as far as what you can do. So let's do another example here. So like I said, I would get more points if I build on a 2nd row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 1, 2, let's see, so I had 2 up there, and I also have a red in my hand, so I'm going to place that there as well. So that's 3, so I'm going to grab 3 of these red columns, boom. Oh, I'm going to destroy the other one. Not playing Rampage here. although sometimes it turns out to be that way. Okay, so I built my 3 columns there. I would score 2, 4, 6 points for that. Okay, now I can build a pagoda tile if I have a red card, which unfortunately I do not. I don't have any more reds. I spend them all on the columns there, all 3 that I had. But this is where the abilities can come in handy. So I need a red card to build the pagoda tile usually, and I would grab one of these and choose any one of these, and so I can choose which color the columns are going to be on the next floor: blue, yellow, purple, or red. Okay, but my turn's not over. I don't have any reds, but I'm not over yet because I just so happened to have an ability here already. You gain these abilities whenever you build a pagoda tile. Okay, so let's assume, just for this little demonstration here, that I had previously built this blue pagoda tile. Okay, and whenever you build a pagoda tile, you're going to move the cube, whether it's here, here, or here it would stay there. You're going to move it to the far right. Okay, and what that does is now I have the ability to utilize this twice. Okay, so I can use it once, and then twice it's exhausted. I cannot utilize an action or one of these special abilities twice in the same turn, the same one. So I couldn't utilize this turn for that and then use it again in this turn. Couldn't do that. I could, however, if I had another one up here, I could utilize this one and then utilize this one. I can use all of those really if it's advantageous to do so, but I wouldn't be able to utilize both actions in one turn. So what this one does is it allows me to, instead of having to have the red card to build a pagoda tile, this allows me to use 2 of the same color to basically substitute it, make it a wild, so to speak. So luckily I actually have 2 purples. So what I can do is I can take these 2 purples, I'm going to place it horizontally to signify a pagoda tile, and with my ability we'll now move that down 1. And so now it's as if I had played a red card here to build a pagoda tile. Don't have a lot of cards left. I do have a green and a yellow. There's no green columns here. So maybe I'll go ahead and build this one that has yellow on it. Boom. Okay. So now whenever I build a pagoda tile, I get 1 point. Move that on the score track. Also, I get the gain the ability, move far to the most far right for the red. So now I get the lantern ability, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so that's going to move over here. What that allows me to do is I can utilize this to build an extra column for this turn. So I've already built 3, but I can kind of combo this. I don't know if it's completely advantageous, but I will show you. I would go ahead and play this yellow vertically, and I could play another column this turn. And that would score me an additional 3 points now, because we're on the 3rd level. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that was quite the turn for me. At the end of your turn, you're going to take any of your cards that you played here. And what this really does is laying these cards vertically and horizontally keeps track of how many columns you've built, making sure that you got the ability if you had, played a pagoda tile and such. So, but what's going to happen is these just go over here by the discard, and then this green one was in my hand, I believe. So I played basically all my cards. What you're going to do is you're going to replenish the face-up cards first. And we have 5. Okay. Drew some yellows, that'll be good. And then I have only one in my hand, so I can draw. I got another green, that's good. For that pagoda combo, I can utilize that. So that is just kind of a one little turn for you. But yeah, that's all it is you're building columns, pagoda tiles. You gain abilities that you can utilize throughout the game. Some of the other abilities is you can draw and have 4 cards up into your hand. The dragon allows you to exchange, basically, I don't want these, I want to try to get more yellow cards or something. I could discard these 3, draw that. I can also discard from my hand and try to get some cards that I need. The rice is similar to the pagoda one that we already mentioned, but for columns, and we already went through the red. So those are the abilities. Again, you're going to be building the rooftop. To build the rooftop, you're going to have the blue. So for this example, I'm going to have a blue card to build a blue pagoda tile, and then depending on which tile I choose here, if I choose the yellow, then what's going to happen is I'm going to actually flip this over. It's going to become the roof, but I can only do that if I can successfully complete the roof by having 2 yellow cards, okay, to finish that off. And this actually scores me 5 points plus the 1 for the pagoda tile, 6 points for the building a rooftop. And that's the game. You can actually, it's kind of cool, you can, for like a shorter game example, you can make it so that the rooftop is built on basically the 3rd floor, so a floor sooner, so that the game is shortened a little bit. You can play a little bit of a simpler game and just not utilize the special abilities at all. That's an option. I really like the special abilities, and it really adds a lot of strategy, another element of strategy to it though, so I highly recommend playing with that. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun. It's a very solid game. It's very cool to build these pagodas. The card quality is very nice. It kind of has a little bit of it has this little linen finish type on it. Very colorful. The component quality of the board and these architect boards and the tokens and everything is just top notch. It's a pretty good size box. It's not huge, but it's to fit this board here. So what else? It's interesting, the strategy of, okay, do I want to build on this third floor here to get more points? But if I build there, then it gets it closer so that maybe my opponent will be able to utilize his yellow cards and maybe build a pagoda tile, which give him a dragon ability, which would help him. But I would get more points instead of building here, where I'm only going to get 1 point for each column that I'm building here. I don't think I mentioned one of the things. You're not limited to building on just one area per turn, like I showed here. I could play 2 columns here, and then I could start a new pagoda over here. So that's an option. So a lot of different kind of strategy to it. It's a really fun game. So I really recommend this one, Pagoda, and we will catch you on the flip side.